Have you ever stopped and really considered why so many men have a deep, almost unspoken desire for one very specific act of intimacy, the act of kissing you in the most private, vulnerable places? For some women, even hearing that question can feel shocking, maybe even a little uncomfortable. And yet, for countless men, this desire isn't just fleeting curiosity. It isn't crude. It isn't careless. It is often rooted in biology, emotion, devotion, and a longing for connection that goes far deeper than most women have ever been told. The truth that many women over 50 rarely hear is this: understanding this desire can transform the way you see intimacy, your body, and even your relationship in ways you may never have imagined. My name is Mary Smith, and I'm the host of the Mindful Senior Living YouTube channel. For decades, I've worked with women navigating life after 50, helping them reclaim not only their health, but their vitality, their confidence, and their right to experience joy and intimacy without shame. And before we go any further, I want to pause and speak directly to you. If you're over 50, if you've ever felt self-conscious about your body, if you've ever wondered why something that seems so vulnerable feels so important to him, if you've quietly questioned whether you're still desirable, you are not alone. Thousands of women sit exactly where you are, curious, unsure, maybe even conflicted. So take a breath with me, because today we're going to talk about this in a way that is mature, respectful, grounded in psychology, and centered on you, your comfort, your understanding, and your empowerment. Many women assume that when a man desires to kiss them there, it's purely about his own pleasure, that it's visual, that it's primal, that it's selfish. But what decades of counseling, research in attachment psychology, and real-life conversations reveal is something far more nuanced. For many men, especially in long-term relationships, this act is not about taking. It's about giving. Let that sink in for a moment. When a man chooses to focus on your pleasure in that deeply intimate way, he is often stepping into a role of attentiveness. He is slowing down. He is paying attention. He is placing his focus entirely on you. In attachment theory, developed by researchers like John Bowlby and later expanded by psychologists studying adult bonding, we understand that physical closeness and focused attention strengthen emotional security. When someone is fully present with your body, your reactions, your breathing, your subtle cues, it creates a loop of connection. And here is something many women don't realize. Men often experience emotional fulfillment when they see their partner relax, soften, and respond. It validates them. It tells them they matter. It reassures them they can still bring you joy. I once worked with a woman in her late 60s who said to me, "Mary, I don't understand. We've been married for over 40 years. Why does he still want to do this? Isn't that something young couples care about?" Her voice wasn't judgmental. It was confused, and underneath that confusion was insecurity. She worried that her body had changed too much. She wondered if he was comparing her to someone younger. But here's what I gently explained to her. For many men, this act is symbolic. It says, "I still choose you. I still desire you. I still find you worthy of devotion." Especially after 50, when cultural messaging tells women that sexuality fades, that desirability expires, that intimacy belongs to the young, a partner's desire can feel almost contradictory to what society has taught you to believe. And that contradiction can create discomfort. But biologically, the area we're discussing is rich with nerve endings. It is designed for sensitivity. When stimulated in a caring, consensual way, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for relaxation and bonding. This isn't just about pleasure. It triggers oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. It increases blood flow, which supports tissue health, something especially beneficial after menopause. So when we remove shame from the conversation and look at it through a physiological lens, we see something important. Your body is still capable of profound response. Psychologically, when a partner allows that level of access, it communicates acceptance. And acceptance is powerful. Now let me ask you something gently. Have you ever pushed his hand away, not because you didn't love him, but because you felt unsure about yourself? Have you ever tensed up, worried about how you looked, how you smelled, how you might respond? If you have, you are human. Women over 50 often carry decades of cultural silence. Many grew up in homes where female pleasure wasn't discussed. Words like vulva, clitoris, or oral intimacy weren't spoken aloud. And when language is absent, shame fills the gap. But here's a truth I want you to hear clearly. Pleasure is not inappropriate. Receiving is not selfish. Your body is not a problem to be fixed. One of the biggest barriers for women in later life is internal self-consciousness. Hormonal shifts during menopause can change moisture levels and tissue sensitivity. Skin texture changes, weight distribution shifts. You may not look like you did at 30, but intimacy after 50 is not about looking 30. It's about being present at 60, 65, 70. Confidence, not perfection, is what transforms intimacy. I've seen couples in their 70s who are more emotionally and physically connected than couples in their 30s. Why? But intimacy after 50 is not about looking 30. It's about being present at 60, 65, 70. Confidence, not perfection, is what transforms intimacy. I've seen couples in their 70s who are more emotionally and physically connected than couples in their 30s. Why? Because they stopped performing and started connecting. Let me share a small practical shift that can make a big difference. Instead of focusing on how you appear, focus on how you feel. Before intimacy, take a warm shower, not out of anxiety, but as a ritual. Use gentle cleansing, apply a light, natural moisturizer if needed. Wear something that makes you feel soft, not exposed. Dim the lights, play calming music. These small environmental adjustments tell your nervous system, I am safe. And when the nervous system feels safe, the body opens. Another powerful exercise I recommend is mindful breathing during intimacy. If you notice your mind wandering to self-criticism, gently redirect your attention to your breath. Slow inhale, slow exhale. Feel the sensation in your body without judgment. This simple practice increases arousal naturally because it reduces anxiety. And here's something fascinating from relationship research. When couples prioritize giving pleasure without rushing toward a goal, overall satisfaction increases dramatically. When the focus shifts from performance to exploration, both partners report feeling closer emotionally. So if your partner desires this act, consider reframing it. Instead of asking, why does he want this? Try asking, what might this mean for us? For many men, especially later in life when erections may not be as reliable as they once were, giving pleasure becomes a source of pride and identity. It allows them to feel capable, generous, connected. It is not about replacing anything. It is about expanding intimacy. But, and this is important, consent and comfort always come first. If something makes you uncomfortable, you have every right to communicate that. Intimacy thrives on open dialogue. You might say, I want to understand what this means to you. Or, I'm open, but I need reassurance. Or even, can we go slowly? Communication transforms uncertainty into connection. Now let's address the deeper emotional bond. When he is fully focused on you, when he notices your breathing shift, your body soften, your subtle sounds, he experiences what psychologists call attunement. Attunement strengthens emotional attachment. You feel seen. He feels needed. That mutual exchange is incredibly powerful, and the benefits extend beyond the bedroom. Couples who maintain affectionate, attentive intimacy often report better mood stability, improved sleep, and lower stress. Oxytocin released during intimate touch increases trust and decreases defensiveness. This is why some couples say their arguments decrease when their intimacy improves. It's not magic, it's neurochemistry. Now I want to gently challenge a belief that may be sitting quietly inside you. Who told you that intimacy has an expiration date? Who decided that after menopause, you should fade into a quiet, passionless version of yourself? Wrinkles are not a disqualification from pleasure. Hormonal changes are not a verdict against desire. They are transitions, not endings. I've worked with women who rediscovered their sensual confidence at 68, at 72, even at 80. What changed wasn't their bodies. It was their mindset. They stopped seeing intimacy as something they owed. They stopped seeing it as something for the young. They started seeing it as something they were allowed to enjoy. And when that shift happens, something beautiful unfolds. Distance becomes closeness. Embarrassment becomes playfulness. Routine becomes exploration. If this conversation is resonating with you, I want you to pause and comment below with the word worthy. Not for me, but for yourself. Because that's what this is really about. You are worthy of feeling desired. You are worthy of receiving pleasure. You are worthy of connection that deepens with age rather than disappears. Intimacy after 50 is not about recreating youth. It is about embracing maturity. It is slower. It is more intentional. It is less about proving and more about experiencing. And oral intimacy, when consensual and emotionally safe, can become a profound expression of devotion rather than lust. As we close, I want you to reflect on this. What if this act is not something to tolerate, but something to understand? What if his desire is not critique, but celebration? What if your hesitation is not weakness, but simply unprocessed messaging from a culture that never taught you how to receive? Intimacy is a living, evolving part of your relationship. It doesn't end at 50. It doesn't end at 60. In many ways, it becomes richer because you bring wisdom, patience, and emotional depth into it. The choice isn't about performing, the choice is about opening. Opening to conversation, opening to curiosity, opening to the possibility that your best years of connection may still be ahead of you. And before we truly finish this conversation, I want to go even deeper, because what we're really talking about here isn't just one act. It's about identity. It's about permission. It's about rewriting a story you may have been carrying for decades. Many women over 50 tell me that intimacy feels different now, not just physically, but emotionally. There's a tenderness to it, a sensitivity, sometimes even a fragility. And that fragility isn't weakness, it's awareness. You are more conscious of your body now, more aware of how it has changed, more aware of how you want to feel. That awareness can either close you or it can expand you. One powerful exercise I often suggest is something I call body neutrality practice. Stand in front of a mirror, not to critique yourself, but to observe yourself with compassion. Instead of saying, I don't like this, shift to, this is my body. It has carried me through life. Notice your softness, your curves, your scars, your lines. They are not flaws. They are evidence of living. When you begin to see your body as experienced rather than diminished, something shifts internally. And that shift directly affects intimacy. Because here's the truth. Your partner often sees you through emotional memory. He doesn't see only your present body. He sees the woman he fell in love with. He sees shared laughter, shared struggles, shared years. When he approaches you intimately, it is rarely from a place of comparison. It is from a place of familiarity and attachment. Psychologically, long-term attraction is strongly tied to emotional bonding. Studies on enduring marriages show that couples who maintain physical affection, kissing, touching, playful intimacy, report stronger emotional security. It isn't about perfection, it's about presence. And presence is something that deepens with age if you allow it. Now, let's talk about something rarely discussed. Receiving pleasure can feel more vulnerable than giving it. Giving feels active, in control. Receiving requires surrender. It requires allowing yourself to soften, to open, to be attended to. For women who have spent decades caregiving, raising children, supporting partners, managing households, receiving can feel unfamiliar. You may subconsciously think, I should be doing something, or is this taking too long, or what if I don't respond the way he expects? This mental chatter interrupts your nervous system's ability to relax. So here's a practical shift. Instead of focusing on how you're performing, focus on one single sensation at a time. The warmth, the pressure, the rhythm. Stay in your body, not in your thoughts. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back. This is mindfulness applied to intimacy. Mindfulness increases arousal because it reduces anxiety, and anxiety is often the real barrier, not age. Let me share another real-life example. A woman in her early 70s once told me she avoided oral intimacy for years because she believed her body had changed too much. When she finally spoke honestly with her husband, he was surprised. He said, "I've never stopped wanting you. I just thought you weren't interested." Do you see how silence creates distance? They began slowly. No pressure, no expectations, just curiosity. Within months, she described feeling more alive than she had in years, not just sexually, but emotionally. She said, "I feel chosen again." Chosen. That word matters. For many men, especially as they age, giving pleasure is a way of expressing commitment. It's active devotion. It says, "I am here, I am engaged, I am investing in us." And here's something important to understand about masculine psychology. Many men equate their value in relationships with their ability to provide satisfaction and care. When they focus on your pleasure, it reinforces their sense of usefulness and connection. But this only becomes healthy when it's mutual and communicative. If something doesn't feel good, guide him gently. If something does feel good, let him know. Positive feedback strengthens connection. Silence breeds confusion. Another exercise I recommend is what I call afterglow conversation. After intimacy, instead of rolling over or moving on quickly, stay close. Share one thing you appreciated. It could be as simple as, "I loved how patient you were," or "I felt really close to you." This reinforces emotional bonding. It trains your relationship to associate intimacy with safety and affirmation. And let's address physical comfort practically. After menopause, vaginal dryness and tissue sensitivity can change sensation. Using a high-quality body-safe lubricant isn't a failure, it's wisdom. Staying hydrated supports tissue health. Regular intimacy itself increases blood flow, which maintains elasticity and responsiveness. Pleasure is not indulgent. It's physiologically beneficial. It improves mood, it strengthens immunity, it supports heart health, it enhances sleep quality. You are not frivolous for wanting or receiving it. You are human. Now, I want to gently explore resistance. If you feel strong hesitation, ask yourself, is this about discomfort or fear? Discomfort can be addressed with communication and adjustment. Fear often comes from internalized beliefs. Perhaps you were taught that good women don't enjoy certain things. Perhaps you absorbed messaging that female desire is inappropriate. But maturity gives you something youth does not: discernment. You get to decide what aligns with you now. You get to choose what feels empowering. You get to say yes with confidence or no with clarity. That autonomy is powerful. And for couples who choose to explore intimacy intentionally after 50, something extraordinary often happens. Because you're no longer distracted by career building or child rearing, intimacy can become more focused, more deliberate, less rushed. It becomes about savoring rather than achieving. And savoring changes everything. Slow down. Extend the moment. Breathe together. Maintain eye contact if it feels comfortable. Eye contact during intimacy increases oxytocin release. It deepens emotional bonding. Even brief moments of shared gaze can amplify connection. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you allowed yourself to feel fully desired, without brushing it off, without minimizing it? When he reaches for you, can you let yourself receive that as affirmation rather than obligation? This shift alone can transform your relationship dynamic. And if you're listening to this thinking, "I wish my partner would show this kind of desire," then this conversation is still relevant. Because intimacy begins with internal permission. When you embody confidence and openness, it often invites responsiveness. Desire feeds on emotional availability. So here's a small challenge for you this week. Initiate a conversation, not necessarily an act, but a conversation. Say something like, "I've been thinking about how intimacy has changed for us. I'd love to talk about what feels good now." No accusations, no pressure, just curiosity. Curiosity keeps relationships alive. And if this conversation has stirred something inside you, hope, questions, even resistance, I encourage you to sit with it gently. Growth rarely feels dramatic. It feels subtle, like a door opening slightly. You are not too old. You are not too changed. You are not too late. Intimacy evolves. It does not expire. And as we truly close now, I want you to imagine something. Imagine approaching intimacy not as a test, but as an experience. Not as something to endure, but something to explore. Not as a reminder of aging, but as evidence of aliveness. Because that's what it is. Aliveness. If this message has touched you, share it with another woman who might need reassurance. Leave a comment about what resonated most. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Mindful Senior Living so we can continue these courageous, honest conversations together. Your body is not behind you. Your desire is not behind you. Your capacity for connection is not behind you. Some of the most meaningful intimacy of your life may still be ahead, deeper, calmer, more intentional, and more emotionally rich than anything you experienced in youth. And you deserve to step into it with confidence, compassion, and curiosity.